This conference will now be recorded.
Okie doke. Okay, we left off last time. I gave you this sheet, which explains in detail how to derate appliances, the whole purpose of deration. And if you really want to get into fine tuning, this is the interpolation process. Okay. I gave you this learning aid. So this would walk you through going out and derating an appliance and clocking a meter and all that stuff. How many of you actually went and clocked a meter as part of your homework?
We did.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Kurt's house was off by 0.5.
Kurt's house was off by 0.5. Did you fix it?
No.
No? Yeah, you can be off by 0.5. You're okay. Did it have a good combustion tape is the question. All right, so I provided you with those learning aids, and then you had some homework. So homework number one was you had to find the deration factor and BTU content per cubic foot for each of these cities and elevations. So this, what I have in front of you now, is the answer key. So I'm just going to get this. You guys can look at this and ensure that you got all these same answers. I'll give you a minute to all look at it. If there's any of them that you didn't get the answer right, let me know so I can show you where to find the answer. Give you guys a minute to compare your homework to my keys and my notes. If there's anything you got wrong, any questions about this one, let me know. If everyone is good and there's no questions, then we'll move on to the next one. So like I said, I'll give you guys a minute or two to compare your notes to mine. And this was an exercise of just getting you in the book, knowing where to find the information. And hopefully as you found the information, you highlighted it. So on test day, you can flip right to it and go, oh, yep, there it is. Anybody got any questions, or did anybody get any of that wrong? Okay, I'm assuming that means you all got everything right and you have no questions about where to find this information in the book. Okay, your next piece of homework was the formula. So you had to use the formula to find the deration factor, because on test day you will be asked, what is the formula to derate an appliance? And it's this formula. And remember, from last class, we discovered we could perform the formula two different ways, right? So this way we have elevation. So let's take this example, 4350 divided by 1000 equals 4.35, and then times 0.04 times 0.04 equals 0.174. Now that I've got that number, I have to take that number, which is x, 1 minus x, so clear, 1 minus 0.174 equals 0.826, or round that up to 0.83. And if you go back and look in the book, there it is right there, 0.83. So you can always check your math in the book. We also discovered that we could do the formula this way. Take our elevation, 4350, times 0.04 equals, divided by 1000 equals, the same number, 0.174. Clear that. 1 minus 0.174 equals, again, the same answer, 0.83. Go back, check your math. Sure enough, right there. I'm going to show you guys one more little trick you can do on this with the math side of it. So let's clear this out. And this trick just makes it quicker. It removes one step from the process. So I'm going to take my elevation again, 4350, divided by 1,000 equals, then I times 0.04 equals. Now I can just go minus 1 equals and ignore the negative sign. 0.82 is rounded up to 0.83. I just saved myself a step in pushing buttons on the calculator is all that does for you. Okay. So there's 3 different ways to get that formula and a little trick to save a step. Any questions about that? Did anybody get any of these wrong? Do you need to help with anything on this?
Moab was a little weird.
Moab was a little weird?
Yeah,
Why was Moab weird? What was weird about it?
because when I did the math on it, I got 0.79, but when I looked at the guide, it's 0.84.
Well, then we better go over it and see what happened. Let's do the math on it, okay? Because, yeah, you're right, in the book. So let's go into the book. Moab, 0.84. So let's go do the math. All right, so our elevation in Moab is 4,025, so clear. 4,025 divided by 1,000 gives us that number times 0.04 equals, and I'm going to do my little trick, just simply minus 1, 0.839, and if I round that up, it's 0.84, and well, sure enough, Moab is 0.84. So my question to you, Tyson, is, do you know where you went wrong in your math? That's the key. If you made a mistake, understanding where you made it.
I did 4,025 times 0.04 and then got 161. Divide that by 1,000.
4025 times 0.04 equals, divided by 1,000 equals 0.161, and then you have to take 1 minus that number, or just do this simple maneuver here, minus 1 equals, ignore the negative sign, 0.839, which rounds up to 0.84, and if I come over here and check my math, well, sure enough, 0.84, it's right there. My guess is you maybe just fat fingered something somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was looking at Roosevelt too.
Okay, yeah, just make sure you don't get your numbers confused. There's a lot to look at there, and if you get in here and get on the wrong line and pick the wrong number, so if I'm down here doing Moab and I accidentally pick Monticello, okay, so that's why I highlight them, so I can make sure I stay on track, stay on task. Anyone else have any issues with this one or get something different? Okay, very good. We're going to move to the next one then. So this is derated CFH. Okay, so using the formula, derate the following appliances. Appliance input times deration factor divided by BTU per cubic foot. So I want you all to take a minute, compare your answers to mine. If you got anything wrong or you have questions about anything, let me know so we can go over it. I can zoom this up a little bit if you guys are, it looks like some of you are squinting a bit. See what we can do there. We can zoom that up a bit. So. Everyone good there? Everyone get the same answers I got? Know where to find the info? there's no questions or concerns or no one had any issues on that, we'll go over to our next one and find orifice sizes. Okay. So using the good practice book, pick the correct orifice sizes for the following appliances, and we did every one of them at 3.5 inches of water column. So you should have came up with, let me see if I can get all the answers on the screen. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay. So Salt Lake is 44, down at the bottom 47, and everything in between. So everyone get all that right? Anyone have any issues with any of those? We need to go over anything on that. Got a thumbs up, got a head nod, yes. Okay, good deal, guys. Okay, so here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to send you some practice exams. I have 5 practice exams. You're going to want to pay attention to this. So this is how the practice exams work, and this is what you're going to see on the actual test day. They're going to give you a diagram like this one. Now note all the information in the diagram. It tells you where you're at. Remember vent sizing? We've got a vent height. We have 2 appliances in here. One is a fan assisted. It's 120,000 BTUs. It has 5 burners. It has 1 inch of rise. It has a 4-inch collar. The collar is where the connector connects to the appliance. Remember, the connector is this piece that goes to the main flue or the main stack, and its pressure is 3.5 inches of water column. That's what they're telling you about this appliance. This is exactly how they're going to do it to you on the test. And this appliance over here is a natural draft with a bunch of information about it. It's 35,000 BTUs. It has 1 burner, has a 3-foot rise, a 3-inch collar. The collar is where the connector connects to the appliance, so here at the draft hood. And it is also at 3.5 inches of water column of gas pressure. And you're going to have some kind of little room schematic down here, okay? So now they're showing you this from a top view. So here's the furnace and the water heater, a mechanical room with some dimensions, a bedroom, a family room. All ceilings are 8 feet. So all the information you need is here in the diagram. And then you're going to have a series of questions. Using diagram number 1, so this is diagram number 1, diagram number 1, diagram number 1, using the diagram, provide answers to the following questions. What is the volume of the mechanical room? Show your formula. Is the mechanical room considered a confined space? Remember when we went over combustion air. What is the volume of the family room? Show your formula. If you pull combustion air from the family room, what two metal grills of what size? You've got 4 choices to pick from. If you provide horizontal openings, what is the minimum required? Okay, make sure you read the questions carefully. Minimum, so you're going to have to figure out the sizes for that. What size rectangular duct would meet the minimum requirements to a single opening? Okay, you've got 4 choices to pick from, so we got to figure combustion air. What size orifices are needed to properly derate the furnace? You're gonna have to go back to your diagram and get the information you need off the furnace, and you're gonna have to derate that furnace and pick the correct orifice. Remember when I talked about when we were doing venting, if you see a question that what is the minimum size and type of connector for the water heater? That means single wall. Minimum is single wall. So remember, in some cases you could only use double wall, in some cases you could use both. If they ask for the minimum, they're looking for the single wall answer. Okay, single wall is the minimum. What is the minimum size and type of connector for the furnace? If you can only use double wall, if you go into the chart and it says you can only use double wall for that, then that would be the correct answer, double wall. If the chart says you can't use single wall, don't pick that, okay? That's real important to remember because that's how they phrase the questions to you. So understand what they're asking. Minimum, if you can use single wall, is the correct answer. Number 11, if the most remote appliance is 118 feet from the meter, what size main gas line is required to the mechanical room? Oh, you got to go back to your diagram, and they're asking you what size main gas line is required to the mechanical room. That mechanical room is serving 2 appliances. So for a total of 155,000 BTUs, so you've got to figure out what is the minimum size line that will provide the 155,000 BTUs, because they're asking you to the mechanical room. They might ask a question, blah, 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 required to the water heater. Then it would just be picking the water heater. So make sure you understand, you read the question. If they ask you what is required to the mechanical room, that means they want to know how much to service both appliances. Or they may ask, this may say water heater or furnace. 12, if you use single opening combustion air method for this mechanical room, you must be certain of what? So you've got to know where to go in the codes and find what codes you need to go by. So there's 12 questions dedicated to diagram number 1. I've got 5 of these practices with diagrams, okay? This is the hardest part of the test, is when they throw these diagrams at you and ask you a series of questions. So I've got 5 practices that you can work on. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all before we go? And like I said, I will send all these diagram preps out to you. And then I also have a whole bunch of just 100 question tests too, if you guys feel you need more practice. And the RMGA does have some online stuff, online practice exams, which if I'm not mistaken, they're free to access. So look into that too. So there's a ton of material out there to help get you prepped up for this, okay? Again, I've said from the start, if any of you are struggling with any of this, feel free to reach out to me. I will work with you one-on-one. I'll do a one-on-one meeting with you and help you get through whatever you're struggling with. Even if it's over the holidays, I'll still be checking my email periodically. And if you need something or need help, I'll take the time to help you out. That's what I'm here for.